Welcome to the Women's Rugby Rundown for April 22nd through May 5th. We're going to hit 2 weeks, so we're going to come at you fast and hard with lots of women's rugby news. The Black Ferns clinched the SVNS League 2024 title at Singapore Sevens, while France secured bronze and Ireland landed in 5th place. Despite Canada's victory over them, Great Britain's 8th place finish means that they will get to compete in the top portion of the grand final in Madrid. England claimed their 6th consecutive Guinness Women's Six Nations win, and we now know almost half of the 18 teams competing in the WXV. In the Africa Cup, Madagascar and South Africa had wins, and we round up all of the global premier and club competitions worldwide. Get ready for a journey in the latest in women's rugby. This is your Women's Rugby Rundown, and we're about to kick off. New Zealand came out 31-21 victors against Australia in a 2-horse race to be crowned the SVNS League winners of 2024 and the first ever HSBC Sevens Singapore champions. That means that the Black Ferns come in as the number 1 seed for the grand finale in Madrid on May 31st to June 2nd. The top 8 teams will be fighting to win the championship, so anyone can win on the day. And then the bottom 4 teams, Japan, Brazil, South Africa, and Spain, will join the top 4 HSBC Sevens Series Challenger teams. Those teams have one more stop in Krakow on May 18th through the 19th, so that could shake these standings up a bit, but China looking pretty dominant, and then they're followed by the rest of the teams there. So bottom 4 from the HSBC Sevens, top 4 from here will compete for the promotion and relegation, so essentially to become core team on the next HSBC Sevens. Switching over to 15s now, after the Six Nations, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but now that that's complete, we know 8 of the 18 teams participating in the WXV this year, and of course that gives them a chance for the 2025 Rugby World Cup in England as well. So in WXV, which will be in Canada, it's going to be England, France, Ireland. The surprise there, they're placing 3rd at the Women's Six Nation, propelled them above to play in that part. WXV 2 in South Africa, Scotland and Italy, and then there's a play-in for Spain and Wales. So whoever wins will stay in WXV 2, whoever loses will move down to WXV 3, where they can join Netherlands, and of course that's being played in Dubai. So you should pause and read this, and I'll just try to get out of the way here. But this is about the WXV and specifically 2027 and the British and Irish Lions Tour, which fantastic endeavor, very exciting. They're putting lots of money into it, great. But again, it is where we're taking 1 step forward and 2 steps backwards, because in 2027, there will be no WXV to make room for this tour. And we've talked a lot about this, but again, this is another reason pointed out by Alex Lowe in his Times article, and then further emphasized by Ali Donnelly of Scrum Queens, that this is just not a great idea. It's an opportunity for the top teams in the world, specifically England, to have fun and to play a tour, while the rest of the world, sure, they could play their own games, but they won't have the support from World Rugby. The money's not there. So it's just a poor idea overall, in our opinion. After 1 round of the Africa Cup, South Africa leads with a bonus point win over Cameroon. But the real story here is that Madagascar upsetting Kenya, and that's the first time they've done that since 2021. They did it in front of a record crowd. They had to come from behind, and this is just a massive feat for them. It also means that WXV becomes more real for them. I think a lot of us had written off anyone but South Africa and Kenya to take that spot in WXV, but this really does give Madagascar a chance to try and achieve that, which would be amazing. The Pacific 4 Series also returned a couple of weeks ago, with Canada playing in United States and defeating them 50-7, getting them off on the right foot for their campaign to be in WXV 1. Of course, Canada is hosting WXV 1. They'd really like to be in that tournament. They will return to play May 11th. They're going to face Australia in Sydney, and then USA also playing on May 10th against New Zealand. We had a couple more international matches announced this week, so we just want to plug our fixtures and results page. It's always there for you when you need information. But Australia confirmed they're going to play Ireland for the first time in 7 years on September 14th. And then England with 2 big announcements. They'll play France on September 7th and New Zealand on September 14th at Twickenham. The NSW Warthog claimed their 5th Super W title with a 50-14 win over defending champions Fijiana Drua. The Saracens conquered the Allianz Cup with a win over Bristol Bears 31-17, while Gloucester Hartpury beat Exeter 26-14 to place 3rd. So that means that the Allianz Premiership will return. We're also going to see the return of the French leagues, the Italian leagues, so everybody that took a break for the Women's Six Nation will be coming back shortly with games. The Black Pearls continue their undefeated streak in the Uganda's Nile Special Rugby Premiership League. And of course, we're tracking Emily Lakuru scoring a bunch of tries this past weekend as she inches closer to 70 tries. It was a big weekend in USA Club as all of the regions held their super regional championships. to determine their seeds. For women's D1, the Atlantic champion Nova will take on the Pacific champion San Diego. Frontier Red River champion Utah Vipers will take on Northern champion Pittsburgh Forge. And of course, the Surfers are looking to retain their title. And can the other three teams, will they be able to stop them? We'll see. Friday, May 17th in Austin, Texas will be the semifinals. And then Sunday, May 18th is the finals weekend. You can watch all of that on the Rugby Network. In D2, Atlantic champion Phoenixville will take on Pacific champion Sacramento Amazons. Gulf Coast champion Tampa Bay Crew will take on Northern champion South Buffalo. So we've got a lot of new teams here. They've been to the finals before, of course, but it's been dominated by Knoxville Minx over the past couple of years. They did lose out to Tampa Crew this weekend. Fantastic match. I was happy to be able to watch that one in person. But this one kind of a coin toss, looking like we'll have to see who comes out of the semifinals, of course. And you can watch those on the Rugby Network on May 18th in Austin, Texas. Week 2 of the WPL saw impressive victories for Chicago North Shore, Berkeley, and New York. That means that New York, Berkeley, and Colorado Grey Wolves, who have only played in round 1 but did win, are undefeated so far. The Vancouver Thunderbirds secured their 3rd consecutive BC Premier title with a commanding win 38-22 over West Shore. That concludes the rundown for the last 2 weeks. Go ahead and subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple Music, Patreon, or YouTube so you'll never miss an episode.